Here we go. Anime is for pedos. Now, if I come across as annoyed or triggered in this video, it's because I am. Because I've been dealing with this issue for decades, going all the way back to junior high.
Man, you like that anime stuff? Oh, you lame, you corny, you weird. Cartoons are for little kids.
And it's the last line right there that always bothered me, because it's your typical ill-informed American mindset. People here equate animation with cartoons. And since cartoons have traditionally been targeted for children, they can't comprehend that animation is simply a medium for entertainment media. It doesn't always have to be used for children. For example, The Simpsons, King of the Hill, Family Guy, The Boondocks are all animated, but none of them are for kids, especially the latter two. Those are definitely for mature audiences. Anyway, I digress. But the constant ragging was so bad, by the time I got to high school, I kept it hidden. Only one of my friends knew about my affinity for anime, and that was because he too was a fan. And it also helped that during that time, anime was hard to come by. More on that in a minute. But even now, with anime being mainstream, we still hear it. With Netflix reporting that more than half of their subscribers watch anime, we still hear it. With the US Marine Corps using an anime character for recruitment, we still hear it. With Disney outbidding Crunchyroll for the rights of Bleach, we still hear it. So yeah, I'm definitely worked up. Now the reason why I'm speaking on this issue is obvious. Number one, I'm an anime fan, but also because of this tweet which has gone viral. And at the time that I took this screenshot, it had 6 million views, 560 retweets, 2,600 quotes, and 3,800 likes. So it's a popular sentiment, a view that is still ignorantly held by many. And it was spoken by a relatively popular conservative YouTuber, which eventually led to a battle of words between two extremely large YouTubers. One being Jeremy of the Quartering YouTube channel and Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire, both of whom have millions of followers. Now I'm not going to comment on the aspect of that beef between them because I don't do beef on YouTube. And the last thing I want to do is get caught up in someone else's fight, especially as a baby YouTuber. I'm more concerned with the sentiment behind the tweet. But what I like to do now is play the Quartering's response to the tweet, because I think it sums up my thoughts entirely. Now this is his response to what Matt Walsh said about him. So he does attack him in the video. I've tried to edit most of that out, but some of it was too relevant to leave out for context. But I agree with the spirit of what he's saying, minus the beef.
Other guy, my point was about a different guy who had just said animes for P words. I don't remember what his name was. He's another Republican weirdo. What is this guy's name? Jackson Hinkle tweeting this. People forget, I grew up with Jack Thompson, another Christian conservative that got disbarred essentially in his crusade over video games. I lived through Magic the Gathering's having to change the Unholy Strength card because there was a pentagram on it because of Christian conservatives. These are the reasons I was liberal when I was young. This type of thinking is why conservatives continue to lose. It's mail-in balloting all over again. When you make statements like this, you alienate plenty of Republican voters or conservative voters that may not consider themselves conservatives. That's where I'm at. I vote Republican, but I don't call myself a conservative. Never have. And, it's because I have my own individual ideas. And so I said, this is a tweet from May 1st, and Matt's been melting down ever since because of it. Said the right's weird obsession with disavowing video games, anime, and social media is why it will never appeal to most of Gen Z. The base is literally dying off, and most of the voices in the community are actively refusing recruits. That's true. Now, does Matt Walsh hold these opinions? Yes. But was I talking about Matt? No. In fact, the following tweet was in response to all the people in the reply saying, oh, are you talking about Matt Walsh? And I said, Matt's not the only guy saying it. There was some other moron who tweeted anime is for P words or something the other day, which is what I'm talking about. So this thread was absolutely not about Matt Walsh. It's about the right's continued idiocy when it comes to pop culture. There are tens of millions of people that enjoy. Dude, video games and anime are bigger than anything Hollywood's putting out, okay? To dismiss that, to call it satanic, which, by the way, Matt Walsh did. It's the same guy that said this.
What's your opinion on anime? It's really popular amongst teens and young adults. I think it's all satanic. I have no argument for it. I have no argument for why it's satanic. It just seems that way to me. All anime to me seems weird, just like bizarre, creepy. And in general, I don't think that adults should be, whether it's anime or any other kind of cartoon, with rare exception, adults really should be watching cartoons in general.
What? So we can't watch Family Guy because Matt Walsh says it's satanic, or we can't watch Naruto, or you can't watch any of your favorite anime. I'm not a big anime guy, but I'm not stupid. I wouldn't tell my viewers like, oh my god, if you watch anime, you're an idiot. Like, or that's satanic. You shouldn't be watching that. Grown adults don't watch anime. Bro, I got news for you. They do. And more grown adults watch anime than watch Hollywood. If the right embraced this and understood this, maybe they wouldn't be so confused how communists are getting in their kids' ears all the time. And here's the article, and again, this is not just Matt Walsh. I'm going to talk about Jack Thompson and all these other people on the right that actively push people who would happily vote for a Republican away, okay? These people won't vote for Republicans because this is who is the face of them. These ideas, I should say, not Matt in particular. This was a tweet by Metroid Man I thought really, really summed it up good. They wrote, most people still championing these positions are dissident liberals, dissident right, post-liberals, and libertarians. Republicans don't do culture. It's pretty clear at this point. They think it's for kids and wonder why communists are in their children's ears. This goes all the way back. Remember, if you play Magic the Gathering, the church was like, oh my god, there's a pentagram on this Magic the Gathering card. We've got to and Wizards of the Coast actually folded and took it off. Because churches and parents got hooked up in the satanic panic. Remember when they said, oh, if you listen to Metallica, you're going to worship the devil? That's boomer cons. They haven't changed. They haven't embraced culture at all. This is the whole reason that why aren't there any more conservative TikTok stars, right? And Matt's like purposeful misinterpretation. This is so cringe. This take from his video.
The right's weird obsession with disavowing video games, anime, and social media is why they will never appeal to most of Gen Z. The base is literally dying off, and most of the voices in the community are actively refusing recruits.
Now let's hear him refute my point. Or do you think he's going to talk about how he has more followers than me?
Well, with all due respect to Jeremy from the Quartering, I think it's safe to say that I have recruited more people into conservatism than he ever has or ever will.
Is this guy a cult leader? I've never called myself a conservative. I've never asked for people to be recruited into conservatism. Okay? And I wonder how popular Matt Walsh would be if the Daily Wire wasn't spending hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting his content, which they do, by the way. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting Ben Shapiro. I see Matt Walsh's ads everywhere. So I just wonder exactly how big Matt Walsh would be if he weren't owned by a super huge mega corporation. I'm in my office with an $80 webcam and a microphone.
I do sometimes, I have to admit, get a little bit tired of hearing lectures on effectiveness from people who are far less effective.
Could you be more sensitive? How about hearing about how sensitive and how much of a floppy puss bag you sound like? Okay, Matt, I'm sick of this. I just fart in a jar and sniff it and talk about how effective you are. You know who Matt Walsh has recruited? Christian conservatives and kids that carry a briefcase in school and already agree with him. I would argue that I probably reach a lot more people who are politically undecided than Matt Walsh does. But that's not my job. He must think his job is to recruit conservatives, which, okay, my job is to entertain and inform. But this is weird. I just think that, the entire thing, I don't care if you like Matt Walsh, but he's just simply wrong on cultural issues. He's right on a lot of other ones, but his opinions around culture are exactly why the right keeps losing. Daily Wire is all interested in creating culture, but they want to put it all behind a paywall. I understand you have to pay for stuff, okay? I'm not saying that they can't make money, but the culture the Daily Wire is creating is behind a paywall of people who are already willing to consume it. It isn't creating culture, it's entertaining an existing group of people that want more of the same. All right? So, yes, the Daily Wire has done a lot of good, but this whole right-wing, and by the way, it's not just Matt Walsh. Remember Jack Thompson, disbarred video game attorney, wants to go and save these people and say that it was, he said the idiot at Parkland was playing Halo, that's why he did it. Do you not remember Jack Thompson's crusade against Grand Theft Auto? This is who Even Rush Limbaugh. You see this, of all the people Rush Limbaugh just defended video games, saying, I don't know how much about video games, but I guarantee they weren't a large influence on the person that did these terrible things. I mean, I have bad takes, and people still follow me. He has bad takes, people still follow him. That's fine. This isn't any kind of cringe Matt Walsh is canceled thing. But what it is to point out that, like, bro, this is why the right keeps losing. Is because the people that are super popular have no idea about culture and they think it's all kid stuff. I mean, keep saying that and you'll just keep disaffecting more. It should be more about converting people, getting people interested in voting Republican and rather than pandering nonstop to your base. You got to be willing to take some dislikes and unfollows and unsubscribes to do that.
So yeah, I agree with everything he said there about the original tweet, and here's why. Now, I shared this story before, so I apologize to anyone who's heard it, but I was what many would consider a casual anime fan in the 90s. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but it was really hard to come by back then. This was before Funimation, Crunchyroll, Netflix, or any streaming service, or broadband internet, before we had Toonami and Adult Swim. Back then, we only got one episode of Dragon Ball Z per week, which was shown on Sunday mornings at 6:30 a.m.
Stand by for Dragon Ball Z.
And it wasn't even a full series. It always ended on Planet Namek, before Goku would fight Frieza. And if you wanted to see more than that, you had to go to an obscure video rental store, because Blockbuster and Hollywood Video didn't have a lot of anime titles back then. And of the titles that they did have, they carried few copies. You could also go to a comic book conference where you might find a vendor selling VHS tapes. But that was a very expensive process, and even if you did have the money, only the really popular stuff was translated. So up to that point, I had only seen Dragon Ball Z, Ninja Scroll, Fist of the North Star, Akira, and Wicked City. We also had Sailor Moon and Speed Racer, but I was not into those. So the bullying, coupled with the scarcity of content available, made it hard to be a fan. But it was in the early 2000s that everything changed, when Cartoon Network got involved. You see, they created Toonami and Adult Swim, broadcast blocks dedicated to showcasing anime in America, and within a few years, shows that were relegated to fringe audiences crept into mainstream American culture. It was because of them I came across classics like Full Metal Alchemist, Inuyasha, Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, Ghost in the Shell, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, and Blood Plus. And from that point forward, I went from being a casual fan to a regular fan. But it was around 2016 that my enthusiasm shifted. My appreciation grew. Anime went from something that I enjoyed, along with many other forms of entertainment media, to something I preferred over everything else. To the extent that now, if you ask me to choose between anime and everything else being movies, TV shows, video games, and sports, I'd gladly choose anime. Not only because I think the stuff coming out of Japan today is exponentially better than anything coming out of Hollywood or sports entertainment, but it's largely due to the fact that anime and manga are the only forms of entertainment media that aren't woke.
What's the matter? Giving up already? Women, you're entirely too weak. I mean, just look at you. You have no endurance. You anger too easily. And you've got woman troubles. Just more proof that women don't belong in a man's war.
It's the only medium that's still focused on entertaining the audience. It isn't weighed down with aggressive social engineering or messaging. And the reason that I got that way goes back to Hillary Clinton running for office. You see, back in 2016, she was the presumptive winner of the election. So the nation was all abuzz. Everyone was excited because we were on the cusp of having our first woman president. And they felt that way because of her opponent. She was running against Donald Trump, who not only was this poster child for what they now call toxic masculinity, but also because he was a celebrity. He was this flashy real estate investor, socialite, and reality TV star. He wasn't a real politician. He didn't have any experience. He was a joke he was supposed to lose.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because we're not going to...
But to the chagrin of many, he won. Trump running for office and winning created this massive groundswell for social consciousness. Hollywood took it upon themselves to purge toxic masculinity from the culture, and it led to what we now call woke, what I would describe as an activist form of entertainment media with heavy aggressive messaging. And from that point forward, movies and TV shows went on this kick of showcasing strong women in leadership. And it started with movies like Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Then we had a Ghostbusters sequel with an all-female cast, Captain Marvel, and a Charlie's Angels reboot that bragged about how it wasn't a movie for men. We also had Incredibles 2. But this time it was the wife, Elastigirl, who was the lead character, and a woman who was the lead antagonist. Even Game of Thrones, a show that I loved and adored, jumped in on the bandwagon when they inexplicably decided to make Arya Stark the hero of all of Westeros. Then there was that awful moment in Avengers Endgame when the female Avengers assembled, and it was also around that time that the NFL and NBA started to hire and promote women as coaches. But it didn't stop there. There was also this push for a overrepresentation of the Skittles community.
Taste the rainbow.
So not only was there an overabundance of strong women in leadership roles, but everybody was
I'm gay.
I'm gay.
Homosexual. I like men. Sexually.
And while all of this was happening, anime streaming services like Crunchyroll, Funimation, HiDive were becoming popular. Manga sales had begun to overtake American comic book sales. Netflix and Hulu began expanding their libraries to accommodate more anime titles. Japan was invading the market, and people like me were disengaging from American media. We got tired of the propaganda and the wall-to-wall messaging every time we'd watch a movie, show, or sporting event. We just wanted to be entertained and not propagated to, which not only was an annoyance for me as a viewer, but it was also done at the integrity of the show or movie. You see, entertainment media that is comprised of woke messaging tends to have contrived plots and storylines and underdeveloped characters. So aside from being overburdened with social political engineering, the quality is subpar. And speaking for me personally, a good story is a good story regardless of the medium. I don't care if it's a book, a play, a narrated story over the radio. As a matter of fact, the best story I've ever experienced in the past 20 years was in a video game. Final Fantasy X. I have yet to find anything better than that. So I don't need live actors on a screen for me to enjoy the narrative. And that's the reason why I, like so many others, enjoy anime. We're just people looking for a good story, regardless of the medium. And I say all that to say, we're not predators. Now, it's stupid that I have to say that because it's obvious, but a lot of us are no different than people on the right who have boycotted Hollywood. We're fed up. And aside from old movies, anime and manga is all we have. And if anyone in the GOP or the conservative movement engaged us, instead of just appeasing the other out-of-touch minions they already have in their echo chamber, they'd find that many of us have similar social and political views on par with a typical Republican voter. I know this because I follow a lot of anti-woke nerd culture channels, and while many of them are socially and politically conservative, none of them speak on politics. Most of them, like me, are politically agnostic. We have no party affiliation. And that's the thing that annoys me the most. You see, I'm used to hearing this kind of crap from the left, because they control Hollywood, they push woke culture, they see anime as a competitor, and they've been taking shots for years. So I'm used to them coming at people like me and what we enjoy, which is why I don't rock with them either. However, I am shocked to hear this coming from conservatives. And this circles back to what Jeremy of The Quartering was saying. Conservatives and Republicans are woefully out of touch. They don't understand the culture. They don't do culture. It's like they enjoy being ignorant, because anime fans are the type of people they should be recruiting to their side. Because for all of their arrogance, they're a dying breed. Conservatives are primarily comprised of people over age 60, and they're getting older every day. They need an injection of new young blood, but instead they've opted to further alienate us with foolish pejoratives like this one, just like many on the left who are aligned with Hollywood. They chose to mock us with ad hominem attack, yet these same people sit around and wonder why they lose elections. They blame voting machines and come up with other wild conspiracies, instead of accepting the fact that they suck at outreach. They hate young people and it shows. They only care about appealing to the shrinking audience that they already have. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. What do you have to say about it? Leave a comment in the comments section and let's have a conversation. Okay, so you've heard me say this a million times. So if you like this video, please give it a like and leave a comment in the comments section and share the link on your social media platforms. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you'll get alerts every time I upload new content. This is the Layman's Journal. Thanks for stopping by. I'm out.
Hell! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And while I do appreciate you sharing, subbing, and leaving comments, I'm going to ask that you take another step further in keeping the channel going. I set up a membership plan for those of you who would like to offer further support in the development of this channel. It's not anything expensive or special. I'm just asking for 99 cents a month, which is enough for me to continue doing the work that I do here.
Help me! Help me! Help me!
In the future, there will be additional tiers with added benefits, but for right now, I just need your support so that I can cover basic costs. So please, sign up so I can continue bringing you awesome content. This is the Layman's Journal. I'm out.